Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the last Sunday live for the year. Had one or two technical issues this morning, so apologies for being late. But yes, we are live, where we do a 20-question mock test. Answer any Q. I can hear myself behind me. Answer any questions you may have about your theory test or driving test. So if you've got a question, put it into the chat. Let me answer it directly to you rather than a generic answer. And I will do a hazard perception demonstration at the end. So, first of all, happy Christmas to everybody. And first of all, let me say thank you to each and every one of you that has supported the channel, watched the videos, turn up to the live silent viewers, the ones who actually take part in the live sessions, the comments in the YouTube. I know I've not been answering them or liking them. There's so many, it's unbelievable, but I do read all of them, by the way. I just can't get to answer all of them. So thank you for the support through the years. Because the channel has grown. I think it's got 50,000 plus subscribers on there. When I done the channel 5 years ago, I never ever thought it would reach to that. It was literally, funny enough, made up because one of the students in the classroom made a comment that I should do a YouTube channel. I did not realize how many of you guys need help out there. Because from my point of view, instructor's point of view, I thought the theory test was kind of easy. Just do a few videos to help you guys out. But as the years have gone by, I realize how much of you are struggling with the theory test. And especially over the last 3 weeks doing the study camp, working with the students really closely, looking at their answers, because I can see their answers now through the Theory Test Pro app that we use. And I see the mistakes that everybody's making. So, in terms of next year moving forward, I'm going to be doing more videos highlighting the mistakes you all guys are making to make 2026 a better year for all of you who are looking for your license. But yeah, Merry Christmas. Hopefully you guys have a good Christmas, safe Christmas with your families. And like I said, I appreciate all that support that you guys have been showing through the years as well. So I definitely appreciate that. So I had to say that first. Now, I've forgotten what I'm supposed to be doing. Comments. Let me get my comments window up, and then I can share the comments that you guys are saying. I don't know why that's gone so small. Let's try to do this. So we're doing it live. Like that. Let's get something. Let's go to this one. Jay Silva, good morning to you. Merry Christmas to you. Not seen your name before, so welcome to you, first of all. Again, good morning to you. I don't think I've seen your name before, so welcome. Not seen your name before, so welcome to you. All new, I say faces, but names. Good morning. Congratulations, Lala, on passing. Thank you for coming to the live and let me know. A nice way to end the last one for the year. Victor, good morning. Desrina, hopefully I'm saying that correct, but good morning. I've not seen your name before. Again, good morning to you guys. All you silent watchers, listeners, good morning. Thank you for watching, but it's nice for you to just say, you know what? I'm here, I'm new, or silent watcher. It's good to just give you a shout out. No problem. Congratulations, Davis. Again, thank you for coming to the live and letting me know. I got to say this as well, as with all the comments on the YouTube with passing or failing, it makes no difference either way, because it just shows the ones that are passing, the videos are working. That's why I want to get back to more videos. And for those of you that are failing, I know I need to do a bit more work. But as I said, over the last 3 weeks working with the guys in the study camp, a common pattern, a common theme is showing throughout. when you guys are studying. And I know if these guys are making those mistakes, you guys out there making those mistakes. So more videos will be coming. Once every 2 weeks is what I'm looking to do. So 2 a month plus the live sessions. I'm going to keep going. So for those of you that's come into the lives and let me know that you've passed, I appreciate it, because it actually inspires me now to, like I said, go and make more videos to help more people to pass. So I appreciate when you guys come to the live and let me know how you got on. Good morning and welcome. I've not seen your name before. This is one of the things that came up in the study camp, especially this week, because we've done some live meetup sessions. What you guys are doing is getting an app. It makes no difference what app you use as long as it's paid for. Most apps are $4.99 on average. At this time, the price may go up over the next 6 months or whatever it is. But at this point in time, the average price for an app is $4.99. So think about it, $4.99 and probably passing, or don't spend $49, probably failing, which is going to cost you another £23. $4.99 is worth it. I would recommend the 4-in-1 app. The reason why? Because it's the best one out there. It's the interface is easy to use, and they're now starting to put driving lesson stuff on there, so you can actually use it after you passed your theory test as well. So it's value for money. So you asked me the question, the best way to prepare. Over this week alone, what I'm noticing, over the last 3 weeks in the study camp, what I'm noticing is a lot of people are doing mock tests in 25, 30 minutes and failing. The real test is 57 minutes. Why you're taking 25, 30 minutes is beyond me. You cannot understand the questions in that time. You need to take the time to break it down and fully understand it. But you asked me the best way to do this. Do the categories first. Again, what's highlighted this week with the students that I'm teaching, they are not doing the categories. They're going straight to the mock test and failing, and then they're wondering why. The reason why you're failing mock test when you go straight to the mock test is because you haven't learned the categories. The mock test is drawn from 50 questions is drawn from 14 different categories. If you haven't studied the 14 categories, how can you have the answers to the 50 questions? So my advice to you and to anyone who's starting out on their journey for the theory test, study the categories individually, 14 of them. Do not do 4 or 5 in one day, which is what I'm seeing my students do. That doesn't make any sense. You're not going to take the information in. Study the 14 categories. And then once you study the 14 categories, then you start to do the mock test. And the mock test will highlight any weak categories. That's the best way to do it. Good morning to you. Merry Christmas. Friday Desmonds. I've not seen your name before, so welcome to you and good morning. Make a video to get a practical driving pass. If you mean driving test, there's lots of channels out there who can do it better than me. I just haven't got time to film. It takes ages to set the cameras up in a car. Which I've done previously, and I just haven't got the time to film those type of videos. So I would recommend going onto YouTube and watching Driving School TV Francis. I think he's quality. It makes it fun as well. You got Conquer Driving School. I think his name is Richard. Clearview Driving School. She's good. DGN. Those are the channels that I would recommend. That's the ones I recommend my own students go and watch during the intensive week. But for me, making videos in cars, I just ain't got the time to do it. I would love to do it. I haven't got the time. Thanks for your support. Victoria, first of all, good morning. I've not seen you again. I've not seen your name before. These are all newcomers, so I appreciate you guys being here, by the way, on a Sunday, last Sunday before Christmas. Thanks for your support. Congratulations on passing 47 out of 50. 63 high score on the hazard perception. Well done to you. 75 supposed to be. Congratulations. Merry Christmas to you. Got your test booked in May as well. It seems far away. What's May? The 5th month? But before you know it, that's going to be there. So hopefully you are taking lessons and working towards it. And I wish you the best of luck with that. When the time comes closer, come and let us know how you're getting on. I appreciate that, Jay Silver. Thank you very much for those kind words. Again, I wish you and your family a Merry Christmas. May 9945. Not seen your name before, so again, welcome to you. Passed on Friday, so that's a good Christmas present for you. Well done. Congratulations on passing. Again, another pass. It's nice to end the year like this. Another pass. Well done to you, Desmond. There's a reading of forward. I figured, not seen your name before, so I figured you're a silent watcher. Good morning to you. Savvy Travels, how are you? I'm good. Newbie here. First of all, welcome, a newbie. Taking motorcycle. Again, what I would suggest with you, some of my videos as a crossover to motorcycles, but what I would suggest again, the 4-in-1 app. That's why I love it. Go to the settings and change. If you haven't done it already, go and change the questions to motorcycles. They've got a motorcycle fairy test on there as well, so you can actually change the questions to motorcycles. Obviously, all the questions up are related to motorcycles. So I wish you best of luck on that. I've had a few people doing motorcycles theory and what's the other one? Heavy goods vehicle license, doing their theory on that as well. And someone suggested me start doing videos on motorcycles and heavy goods. Again, I just haven't got the time to film those categories. But all right, let me do the overview first, because that's why you guys are really here, to do the 20 question mock test. Let me do the overview, and then I'll come back to your comments and we'll do the mock test. Right, so 50 questions, as I mentioned earlier on. The multiple choice section of the theory test is 50 questions made up of 14 different categories. When you go in there, there's 10 of you in the room, 10 different tests. And what I mean by 10 different tests, there's no two tests the same. So if there's 10 of you, you're getting, all 10 of you are getting 50 different questions. So the reason why that is so the person that comes out can't tell the next person coming in, or a friend that's got a test tomorrow, this is what you need to study because this is what I got, this is what I got, this is what I got. Your test is totally different from everybody's. And that's the reason why I suggest do the 14 categories, because you don't know how your 50 questions are going to be made up. So whereas someone get 5 road signs, you may only get 2 road signs. So that's the reason why I say do all the categories individually, so you have all the knowledge from all the categories. So no matter how your test is made up, you're good to go on that. Time, 57 minutes to do the test. As I said, what I'm noticing in the study camp is a lot of students are doing mock tests in 20-25 minutes on average. And when I go to the result, it's a fail. And to be honest, it's always going to be a fail with that. Can you pass? Can you do the mock test in 23-25 minutes and pass? Yeah, you can. But the chances are when you go for the real test, you're going to fail. And the reason why that is because some of the questions that you get on the real test is worded differently. And what my students are now saying, some that's taken the test in the recent times, is tricky questions. And when we've broken it down, it's not tricky questions. They just miss the clues in the questions. That's why it looks tricky and sounds tricky, because you're missing blatant clues. And you're always going to be missing it if you're doing it in 25 minutes. But the question you've got to ask yourself is this: if they're giving you 57 minutes, why are you taking 25 to do that? It makes no sense. I don't even do my mock tests when I'm practicing, because I still do practice mock tests to make sure my knowledge is up to date. I don't do it in 25 minutes, and I teach this every week. So if I don't do it in 25 minutes, how can you do it in 25 and still pass? That's something you need to ask yourself. Hazard perception. Once you've done the 50 questions, you move on to the hazard perception. It's 14 videos. 13 of them have single hazards. One of them's got a double, which is 2-5, score a 10. You need 44 out of 75. Your average has to be 3 across the board. When you finish, you have to average 3 per video. If your average is below 3, it's going to be a fail. I will do a demonstration at the end of the 20 questions, so and break it down for you what a hazard is and how you should click on that. So if you struggle, stick around or watch the replay. What are you looking for in an answer? Safety. answer always has to lead to a safe outcome. The theory test is black and white. There's no grey areas. So you have to make sure that answer leads to safety. If the answer is not leading to safety, then you want a controlled outcome, which is normally your motorway questions and your first aid questions lead to a controlled outcome, because your driving test is based on control and safety. Your theory test is based on control and safety. And if you need help to pass your theory tests, I do a 30-day study camp. It's called 30-day study camp because it's a sweet spot, but you got access to all the training material until you pass. If it takes you 60 days, 90 days, so be it. It's not a problem. The stuff you see on screen will be changing, because like I said, over the last couple of weeks working with the students, some of the stuff that you see there you don't need. You're not using it in the study camp. What you guys need more of is personal training, which is more of me, and I will be doing more live sessions. At the moment, it's only one live session per week. It will go up to at least 2, maybe 3, because we've done 3 sessions this week, I think it was. And it was really enjoyable. It was really fun actually working with the students and going through their results in detail. So like I said, that is there if you need it, especially for next year when 2026 kicks in. That's most people's goal or resolution, to pass their driving test in the new year. So let me just catch up on some of these more comments, and then we'll do a ton of question mark test. Test on Tuesday. Wow, just before Christmas. Big result. I hope you pass, because it'll be a nice Christmas present. With that, I can't say come back next Sunday because I'm not here next Sunday, but come back the first Sunday in January, and let us know how you got on. But I wish you luck with that. If you've got any questions before we sign out, ask the questions. Let me send you in there nice and confident on Tuesday. But I wish you the best of luck with that. 67 has a perception. Well done to you. First of all, good morning. I didn't say good morning to you. Good morning. Congratulations on passing, and thank you for coming to life. 67 is amazing. Capital letters all shouting at me. Good. So let me just read this again because it's all capital letters. I didn't study and decided just to attempt tests, and I just passed with a slim margin. Can I go ahead and do? Yeah, you don't have to. Let me just clarify this as well, because again, this has come up in the study camp. My advice, if it's possible, is to take driving lessons while you study for the theory test. 2 reasons. One, which is the main reason, as you're studying with the theory, you're using it while you're driving, so it reinforces it, so it makes it stronger, and hopefully when you take the theory test you pass first time. So that's the reason why I recommend it. It's not essential, but I recommend it. Not only that, because you are learning to drive while you're studying, technically when you pass the theory test, you're further down the road with your driving. It means you can pretty much go and look for a driving test. Everybody knows it's common knowledge. The waiting time for a driving test is anything between 4 to 6 months. So if you already got 4 months of driving experience, you're going to be a lot closer to booking a driving test. What you don't really want is no driving practice at all. Take your theory test, pass it. Now you need 4 to 6 months of driving lessons to get you near ready for a driving test. And then you're waiting another 4 to 6 months to try to get a driving test. That's over a year. So if you can knock out some of the waiting time by taking driving lessons, get that experience, then that's what I would suggest you do. But the answer to your question is, yeah, you passed the theory test, you have the right to go and take driving lessons. My advice to you though is to brush up on the theory test, because obviously you need that knowledge for your driving, and if it's weak, you're going to spend more time at the roadside being explained to about the theory which you've passed. And in my experience as a driving instructor, I rather my pupils just drive. I don't really want to be sitting at the roadside explaining. I will do it because I have to, if that's the case, but I rather my students be able to drive and not spend time talking about a theory test which they've already passed. All right, let me just do this last one. Victoria, again, I've not seen your name before, so welcome to you. I'm fine, thank you very much. Took a test on the 15th. Obviously you mean 15th of this month, which was last Monday, I believe. 48, missed the magical 50 by 261, another high score. You're welcome, and congratulations on passing. All right, what I'm going to do is do the 20 question mock test. I will keep going through your comments. If you've got a question, type it into the comment section, but put a Q semicolon. It makes it easier for me to find. Otherwise, it looks like a comment and I may miss it accidentally. So let me share my screen. Let's do this one, so it's bigger. Right, so for those of you that are new, let me just move this across because I don't know why it's that way. Right, so those of you that are new, read the question, always read the question first. How can you make sure that a satellite navigation, sat-nav system does not distract you when you're driving? This is A, this is B, so A and B on the top line for those of you that are new, C and D is on the bottom line. If you think it's A, then please put the question number first, so 1, and then put A. Reason, because there's a delay between me and YouTube, you and YouTube. When I show your comments, I like to make sure it's the same question number we're dealing with. So type away. I'm all good, just a bit sick because of this weather. Other than that, I'm all right, thank you for asking. Well, hopefully you get better. And strong enough to enjoy your Christmas. Gonna get the app after the show. Yeah, definitely get the 4-in-1. That's my advice. User friendly. It's got so much information in there, and make sure you get the paid version though, because obviously the free version is stripped down. You're not going to get everything that you need. I wish you luck with that. Good morning, Mr. D. Okay, I'm fine, thank you very much. And your third time here. Hopefully you keep coming back in the new year. After congratulations on passing. First of all, let me just say congratulations. I'll give that out. Pat yourself on the back. Again, for me, my student, 43 out of 50, I would look at the categories you got the 7 questions wrong in and just make sure it wasn't mainly road signs and road markings or rules of the road, because those ones you're going to need definitely for your driving lessons, driving test. So I'll just brush up on those and make it a bit tighter. But congratulations on passing. That's just love. Welcome. How are you? Did you book your theory test? I'm sure last week we spoke about you looking online for dates. I'm sure it was you. Congratulations on passing. Merry Christmas to you. It's a good Christmas present to have. And this is common, so I'm glad that you actually shared that experience that you said. Let me just read this bit. I did a lot of revision, but the real test is different than the app. I repeat, the app questions are sample questions just to give you a taster. Nobody has access to those real questions. The DVSA do not release them. Even though I'm a licensed trainer, I've got no access. Only some of the questions I know based on the feedback from our pupils taking the test. And that's what I keep saying to students. Just because you're passing mock tests, doing the apps, it doesn't mean to say you're going to pass the real test. That's why you need to understand the questions inside out. So when it's worded differently, because the understanding's there, you're still going to get the right answer. What most of you are still doing is doing the apps solidly, passing mock test, thinking, good, I'm going to pass the real test, go in there. Questions are totally different. You are now thrown because you didn't understand. Technically, what you did is memorize the answers with that. But I'm glad you share that, because I'm saying that and people still not getting the message. It's like a big shock when they go in there. But the questions was different. Yeah, I told you that before you went in. Nurse Jenny, I've not seen your name before, so welcome to you. Passed your test on the 16th. Congratulations. 46, 61. Others over 60. Thanks for your help. No problem. You are welcome. All right, let's do these ones. I'm going to show this because we're on the first one, so I know it's related to the first one. Moving forwards, please put the question number and then the letter itself. So you guys are gone for D. Set up before starting. Yeah, once it's set up, you can focus on just driving. Which is the sign for a ring road? Always look at all the images, break it down because there's a clue in there, and then go looking for the answer. But remember now, put the question number, so you're looking at number 2, and then whatever you think the answer is. Brilliant. Congratulations. Thank you for being there, by the way, and thank you for saying that. You said before you attempted the test, did you pass the test? You didn't say whether you passed it or not. Hopefully you did. Mary, 1212. I've not seen them before, so again, welcome to you. Silent follower, so that's the reason why. Again, partial theory says 46 out of 50. 65. Well done to you, 65. First of all, congratulations on passing. Driving lessons, it can be tough. Again, I'll talk from my experience. When students turn up on their first lesson, they think it's about squeezing a few pedals and steering the steering wheel. There's a lot more to it mentally. There's a lot more to it than that. Once you get over the fear factor of worrying about things outside the car, it does become easier because it becomes muscle memory. Just give it time. And hopefully you've got a decent instructor who bring out the best in you as well. T-Top, not seen your name before, so again, welcome. Passed on Monday, 48. Missed it by 2, the magical 50. Congratulations, Merry Christmas to you. It's a nice Christmas present that you passed as well. So well done to you. And again, I appreciate you coming here and let me know how you got on. So we're looking for 2s. Remember, if you've got any questions, just type them in, driving wise or ferry wise. But put a Q semicolon, it makes it easier for me to see it. 2C is what you've gone for. Yeah, you got ring road, start with an R, and you've got the massive R in front of you. So that's the clue. How can you use your vehicle's engine as a brake? Test in July. That's a long time ago, and you're here. Thank you for coming back. What's the reason for it? For a refresher? Are you taking lessons now since you passed in July? July, that's about 5 to 6 months ago, isn't it? So are you taking lessons now? Have you booked a driving test? What did you do next? It's always nice to know what you guys do next after passing the theory test, because you'd be surprised how many of you actually pass it, and then before you know it, the 2 years is lapsed, and then you have to take it again. That's the reason why I suggest doing driving lessons alongside it. So once you pass the theory test, you're literally now jump on that website, start looking for a driving test, because 2 years isn't long. I missed something out. Okay. 3A. Yeah, lower. For those of you who do automatic, because again, doing study camp, there's quite a few of them doing automatics. And when you do automatic, you don't really understand gears. The lower the gear, the lower the number, in other words, the slower the speed. Hence why it's engine braking. So low number, low speeds. So technically on a manual car, first and second gear are low numbers, drives the car at slow speeds, gives you more control, but they're power gears. High gears are weaker, but drives the car at faster speeds. For those of you taking automatic lessons, when may you sound your vehicle's horn? I'm not understanding what this is. I'm assuming there's a problem with your date of birth experience. If you've booked it, obviously you know what's going on, but if you've booked it online, you emailing them ain't going to change anything. You need to go back online and change it. You should have, what's it called? A reference number, and go online and change it. But like I said, I don't know what communication you have. It's very rare that they would change your ferry test date. But like I said, you've had communication with them, so just be aware of that. Because what you don't want, the DVSA aren't the fastest people to answer. And what you don't want to do if it's next month is get under the cancellation time, and you can't cancel it without losing your fee. So it's something you just need to be aware of. Oh, I appreciate this, Rina. I really appreciate the super chat. Thank you very, very much. Every little helps, so thank you very much for that. Right, 4D is what you've gone for. When may you turn to warn you of presence? I will add with this, again, on the real test we're talking about, not on the app, they can ask you what other signal can you give to warn other roads of your presence. It's two signals. One is your vehicle's horn, and the other one is flashing the headlights. Flashing the headlights and beeping the horn means the same thing, warning of your presence, just in case they word it differently to give you the flashing lights one, if that makes sense. Why must you take great care when emerging from this junction? I mean, I made a mistake. You mean you made a mistake with the date of birth based on what you wrote? That still doesn't make sense to me, because you don't type in your date of birth. Obviously, you know what you're talking about, because you use your driver's number to book your theory test. So I'm not sure why you would type. Anyway, you know what you're talking about, so I'll leave that to you. I won't get involved with that. Too many cooks and all that. What are we on, 5? But just keep an eye on the cancellation date is what I would say, because like I said, DVSA is not the fastest people to get back in touch with you. Lady G. Again, I've not seen your name before, so welcome to you first and foremost. Yesterday, Saturday. 49, missed it by 1, the magical 50. But well done, and 57 out of 75. Thank you for your video. You're welcome. And again, I thank you for coming to the live and let me know how you got on. And you've gone for 8. Views restricted. Again, another little tip with this, they can show you a similar image on this is the real test I'm talking about, and they can ask you the question of what can you use to make it safer for you to come out. And it's either going to be reflections or listen would be one of the two options they will give you for that. Where would you see this sign? Remember, if you've got any questions, especially because it's the last one for the year, type them in to the comment section, driving wise or very wise, and let me answer it for you. You guys are going for D. YouTube's really slow coming out with this. Right now they're coming through. Right, you guys are going for D. Again, another little tip on the real test. They're starting to say this is on the rear of a school bus. This is how it used to be all the time back in the day. On the real test, they're saying on the front of a school bus, on the side of a school bus, or just on a school bus. As long as it's got the word school bus on it for this, that's the answer you want to go for. Because for some reason, when they change the rear to a different thing, you guys don't pick that answer. Why should you use your mirrors when you see a hazard ahead? And for those of you who don't know, your hazard perception is you checking the mirrors in real life. So when you're clicking, getting your 5s and 4s on the videos, it's the equivalent of you checking the mirrors in real life. And I'll explain more when we do the hazard perception demonstration with that. D. Yeah, need to know what's happening behind you before slowing down. That's the reason why you check your mirrors first. Which road users are most difficult to see when you're reversing your car? I've not seen this question for a while. I'm assuming you mean 8. Because you answer, I'm sure you answered 7. Gone for a D. Why D? Cyclist. The question says, which road users are most difficult? Cyclists aren't difficult to see. The clue in this question, believe it or not, again, this is something I've been speaking to my lot in the study camp. sometimes they give you background information. Let me just try to explain this. Let me get this up. The common reason why you guys are failing, apart from doing it too quickly, is you're not breaking the question down. When I say break the question down, I understand the question. This question, let me get the thing back up. You guys see this as the whole question. But sometimes part of the question is background information, because the theory test doesn't always give you background information. So this is the background information. Which road user or users are most difficult to see? That's the background information. So they're talking about road user, most difficult is the key bit there. And then the question is, the other background information is you're reversing, you're going backwards, which means you need to look over your shoulder. That's why cyclists aren't difficult to see when you're reversing. What's difficult to see is, let me just reveal the answer so you can see it. Let's get rid of this. It's children, because they're smaller. You've got obviously tall children, small children, especially young children running around hiding behind cars, and that's the reason why. You arrive at the scene of a motorcycle crash. The rider is injured. When should their helmet be removed? Let me just put this up. You're multitasking. I'm not sure what you mean by yes, please, with that now. 9, 8. Okay, you guys are gone for A. Yeah, Olive is essential. In other words, to help them breathe, the strap needs, or the helmet needs to come off. And if you're going to apply first aid, are the two situations mainly. You're asked to fetch a defibrillator, otherwise known as AED. What's the best way to find the nearest AED? What advice you can give an auto driver when given manual questions? Study it is the best way, because it's the only way. The reason, when you do automatic lessons, obviously manual questions don't apply to your driving lessons, if that makes sense. But the main questions are gears, which we had, low gears, high gears, which gears to move off on ice and snow. What's the other one? Coasting. They're very basic, very simple, but the advice I can give you is study it, still study it, understand it, because if you understand it, you get it, you pass it. You don't need it again if you're taking automatic lessons, but you do need it for the theory test. I wouldn't skim it. I've got a lot of students saying to me, I don't do manual lessons, so I don't need to know it. You do need to know it for the theory test. Remember, if you don't pass the theory, you can't take driving lessons. So you can't take a driving test. So my best advice is study it. Just Google it. Coasting, Google gears if you're really struggling with it. But the questions are pretty much straightforward once you understand it. They're not really that difficult. But yeah, with anything, I understand it, to be fair. I've got a D there. I've got C and B's correct. It's similar. There's only technically one question in the theory test for automatics that manual drivers don't have, and that's kick down. And again, but that's again straightforward. So what is kick down for automatic cars, which is quick acceleration. But even that, I still teach my manual students what kick down is and how it works, and then I show them the manual version to that as well. Understanding is a powerful thing. I always make sure my students understand inside out, either manual or automatic, because you never know. Especially with a manual, you can drive both. But once you go in automatic, you're welcome. Once you got automatic, like I said, once you pass your theory test, you don't need to know what a manual car does. You're laughing in that sense. Sorry, most of you gone for B. Someone went for a D. Follow the arrows on a marker post. I'm not sure how that helps you get to the AED. 999, they're public. So a 999 operator has all the details of all of them. So once you phone up, they'll ask you for your location and they can tell you the nearest one to your location. You're driving an unfamiliar car fitted with advanced driver assistance systems, otherwise known as ADAS. Where would you find the information about how to use the ADAS correctly? Sabina, hello to you. Yes, 11B, manufacturer's handbook. Obviously, every car comes with a handbook, tells you how to operate, operator's manual, in other words. So, yeah. You're about to start a journey in freezing weather. What part of your vehicle should you clear of ice and snow? How many of you here have got a test booked for the new year? Early January, late January? Just out of interest. How many of you haven't got a test booked? You're just still studying? So how many of you got test books early next year? And how many have you got not got a test booked at all? Sorry, 12A. Windows, yeah, you've got to clear the windows so you can see to drive. Which vehicle should use the left-hand lane on a 3-lane motorway? Booked in February. Me, I'm assuming me means you have a test booked early January. 2026, early January. So be studying over Christmas and New Year. Take Christmas Day off at least. But yeah, I wish you guys luck with that early next year. And before you know it, someone's got February, I think, booked in Feb. Before you know it, February's here on top of you. Yeah, I wish you guys luck with that. All right, let me ask you another question, if you can put it into words. What are we on 13? What's your biggest struggle with the theory test that you find? Okay, still struggling in these topics. Yeah, okay. That's the previous one. Sabina, you're welcome. Thank you for coming to the live and let me know that you've passed. So that's a good Christmas present for you. So in the new year, you can actually go and do driving lessons or book a driving test if you've got driving experience. 6th of January. That's a Tuesday. Again, I wish you luck with that. March. That's a long way away. That's 3 months, that's long. But at least you got it booked, which is the main thing. I'm just studying. All right, Desirina, you said you're just studying. At what point are you going to feel ready to take a test? Is the question I'm going to ask. Because before you know, the reason why I'm asking is because a lot of students do say that and do that. I'm just studying. Before you know it, you got 5 months gone, 6 months gone, 7 months gone, and you're still studying. At what point have you set a goal? As much as you said you're studying, you may have set a goal for yourself to say, I want to do it by. If you have set that goal, what's the goal? If you haven't, then when do you feel like you're going to be ready for your test? You're here. That's the most important thing. Welcome. Yeah, we've established that. Booked 7th of January. That's a Wednesday in the new year. So these are early January. So again, I wish you guys luck with that. Come back to, I don't know what Sunday that is, the Sunday that week. That's when I come back with the lives. Come back and let us know how you got on. It'd be nice to have a good start to the year with you guys passing. 30th of January, end of the month. So that's giving you about 5 weeks. Take a week out for Christmas and New Year. That's about 4 weeks. So you've got plenty of time with that. Gone for an A. Or someone's gone for a D. Oh, right, A's common answer, but someone's gone for a D. I've got S there, 13S. I don't know where that's related to. Not booked at all. Again, the question's got to be why. Let me come back to that one. Hazard perception, that's common. Once you understand what hazards are, the hazard perception is the easiest part of let me come back to that. I'll come back to that in a minute. Some good comments here. I'll come back to these comments. I've seen the comments. I will come back to them. Wow. Okay, interesting. All right. So what was a common answer? Let me see what you guys put in. A was common, but someone went for a D. Everybody should use the left-hand lane, by the way. Which vehicles should use the left-hand lane? It's always stay left when possible. So it's always going to be that one. Slow vehicles only. What do you class as slow vehicles? Would be the question. Yeah, everybody stays left. As instructors, we always say stay left when possible. You arrive at an incident. There's no danger from fire or further collisions, and the emergency service have been called. What's your first priority when attending to an unconscious motorcyclist? There's a lot of information in there. Right, let's take a look at what you guys have been saying. I haven't, but I plan to write in January. Right, let me give you some advice on that. As much as you tend to plan to write in January, it doesn't mean say your test centre has dates for January. So what I would suggest you do, whether you want to do it today, tomorrow, is just jump online quickly, type in your DVSA website I'm talking about, type in your postcode for your local test centre and just see what dates they've got. And the reason why I'm saying that, this week I booked a couple of theory tests for students who wanted to do it in January, but their local test centre didn't have any dates. I had to book it for late February. That was the earliest dates possible. So you may want to do it in January. It doesn't mean to say your test centre has dates in January. So I would look and see if they've got any. If they haven't got any, then obviously I would now think about doing it in February. If they've got February, take that date so you work towards it. What some of you guys are doing is like what you just said there. I want to take it in January. You wait to January, then go on, and there's no dates. Then I won't say it's time wasted, but if you feel ready in January, then you're adding more time on to stuff that you don't need to be adding time on, if that makes sense. So yeah, just take a look on the DVSA website to see what they've got available for your local area. Jay Silver's mostly has a perception struggle on. Everybody thinks they struggle and has perception, but once you understand it, it becomes easier. And the reason why I say that, because once you understand what a hazard, the key is understand what a hazard is. Once you understand what a hazard is, then it becomes easy, because a hazard's a hazard. Regardless of what video you watch, it's a hazard, so it becomes consistent. The hardest part of the theory test is always the questions, because you don't know what 50 questions you're going to get, and you don't know how it's going to be worded. But a hazard, once you understand it, it's standard. So hopefully when I do the demonstration later on, that can help you out. I have ADHD, dyslexia, finding it hard to focus and study. Common with students I teach. I've got dyslexia, but obviously I'm a lot older than you, so I know how to manage that. Small chunks. Don't do hours and hours of studying. Do them in small bite chunks, 15, 20 minutes at a time. That will help your focus. Maybe your concentration is even less than that, but whatever it is, find that sweet spot and then do 15, 20 minutes at a time. That's the easiest way around it, because you want quality, not quantity. That's what I'm finding with a lot of students doing quantity studying, 2 hours, hour and a half. That's way, way, way too long. So you want to break it down in smaller, manageable chunks. If I don't know how bad your dyslexia is, sometimes use the headphones. When I got dyslexia students, I get them to use headphones, and they find it easier when it's read out to them. With my dyslexia, I wouldn't want it read to me because I'm visual. I need to see the words. Even though I struggle with the words, I need to see it. But like I said, I'm a visual person. That's the reason why headphones wouldn't work for me. So maybe try headphones, and that may help. But do smaller chunks. I'll come back to the other comments in a minute. Let me just do these 14s. Trying to find earlier. First one. Very bad. What's that? Is that the dyslexia or ADHD? Which one's back very bad? 14A is what you guys are going for. Yeah, make sure they breathe in, otherwise you have to start first aid. You're approaching a junction where the traffic lights are not working. What should you do when a police officer gives you this signal? I'm struggling with the theory. I do pass hazard perception. Right, so if you was my student, the first question I'd be asking, you're struggling with the theory, what part of the theory you're struggling? You need to find out what parts or why you're struggling. So 2 questions you want to ask. What part of the theory? And then once you've established what part of the theory, obviously it's the questions, but what part of questions? Is it road signs, vulnerable road users, blah, blah, blah. And then you want to ask yourself, why are you struggling? There's always a reason for it, and you need to dig deep to find that reason. Once you find the reason, then you can find a solution to the problem. So many students turn around and say, I struggle with the theory. What are you struggling with? Oh, road signs. What part of the road signs? I don't understand them. Road signs are very simple. So the question I ask, is it the road signs you don't understand, or is it the questions for the road signs? And that's why you need to dig deep and ask yourself why. So those are the 2 questions you want to ask yourself. What are you struggling with in terms of the theory? And then once you understand that, why are you struggling with the theory? And then you can start putting a solution into place for it. Please, I'm new here. First of all, welcome. I really need help. I've failed 3 times. Help with what? You haven't told me help with what? You failed 3 times. What did you fail on? Questions, has perception, both. Again, that's another thing that I get a lot of. I need help. Help with what? I can only help you if I know what the help you need is. And that goes back to what I'm saying with the why. Why did you fail? Why did you get the question wrong? Why didn't you understand? 15. Very bad dyslexia. Let me come back to that. Let me just start it first of all, because there may be another alternative around that. Hold on. Let me come back to that, this arena. Got A. Common answer C, but there's an A on there. So let me just show that. That's a stop sign. Flat palm, flat backhand means stop. So it's going to be C. Turn right only. I don't know how you got turn right from there when the hand is straight. Yeah, flat palm or flat backhand. So if you're coming from the front, it's a flat palm. If you're coming from the back, it's a flat backhand. It means stop. It's a red light. When would you use an emergency area on a motorway? Right, sorry. Let me just do this. With you having dyslexia and ADHD, you may want to contact, I can't remember if you said you booked a theory test already. If you haven't, you may want to contact the DVSA and tell them you've got ADHD and dyslexia, because sometimes they can grant you a longer time for your theory test. You need to supply medical stuff for it. They make you jump through a lot of hoops to get this, but maybe taking the applying for an extension longer than 57 minutes will give you a better chance, because then you're not going in there trying to cram stuff in within 57 minutes, if that makes sense. Because you've got a learning disability, technically that's what you've got. You can get an extension which gives you longer to do the test, which should keep you calmer and not stressed. So it's something that you may want to explore in the new year and just find out what the steps are with that. But they do get you to jump through hoops, so on the medical side of it. And I think if this, I can't get my words out. If your dyslexia is really bad, you may want to explore that route and see if it's open to you. First of all, congratulations. I don't remember your name. But either way, it doesn't really matter. Congratulations on passing. And thank you for coming to the live and letting me know you passed. Congratulations. That's a nice Christmas for you. Unless don't need to study anymore. What are you going to do next now? Book driving lessons or look for a driving test? If you've got driving experience. You guys gone for B. Let me just shouldn't get this wrong. What I was to say, sometimes there's clues. You've got an emergency here and you've got emergency in there. So there's a link. Doesn't always work on the ferry test, but sometimes you need to break the question down and look for the clues or the links between the questions and the answers. You're driving at night. What should you do if you're dazzled by a vehicle behind you? I'm nervous to book my ferry test. You're always going to be nervous, and that ain't going to change. So you not booking it doesn't change anything. Nerves is a good thing, it's not a bad thing. I always say it to my students, as long as the nerves don't control you, that you start to second guess and triple guess your thought process. So book it and then take it. It's only going to go one of two ways. This is what I say to my students. You book a ferry test or driving test, it's only going to go one of two ways. You're going to pass it or you're going to fail it. If you pass it, you get on with your life. In this case, you look to book your driving lessons or a driving test. If you fail it, you have data. It gives you a baseline. So you now know what your next step is. At this point in time, with you just studying, you have no idea where you're going, whether you're going to pass it, fail it, what you're good at, strong at, weak at, blah, blah, blah. So don't be afraid to book it, take it, and then read the data. Hopefully it goes well for you first time. Pass it, happy days. If it doesn't, use it as a positive. You failed it, but I've got the experience. And now I know what my baseline score is, X out of 50. And then it tells you the categories that you need to work on even more. So that's what I would suggest you do. Don't be afraid of it. Embrace it. And obviously it's something that you want, because you're even here on a live on a Sunday. So it's something that you really want. Book it. And then when you book it, if you're really struggling still, come to the lives, ask questions. That's what the lives are for you guys to ask questions and clear up any doubts. And if you're really, really struggling, join the study camp where I will help you with your studying personally. Good morning to you and welcome. 17D. Again, breaking it down, you got, just in case you guys don't know, dazzled means temporary blindness. That's all it means. So dazzled is temporary blindness, and it's got dazzle in the answer here as well. I know it's got dazzled here, but this doesn't make sense in terms of safety. That's what I said, it doesn't always work. What should you do when you're approaching a bus that's signaling to move away from a bus stop? So this has perception, getting a low score even when clicking at the right time. Think about what you're saying. You're getting a low score when you're clicking at the right time. If it's the right time, how are you getting a low score? That doesn't make sense. So the question is, are you clicking at the right time? Let me quickly explain something with it. I will explain it when I do the demonstration in a minute. If you feel like you're clicking at the right time for the hazards, you probably are. But the problem is, they're not asking you to, let me explain this, make sure I'm not confusing you guys. When you do the hazard perception, it's not about you seeing the hazard. It's about you getting a score. So based on what you're saying, you're probably seeing the hazard and you're clicking. which is fine, but the score's low. You need to get a score, which is 3 plus per video. So it's not about you seeing, it sounds weird, it's not about you seeing the hazard. You must get a score in the countdown window. That's the key to it. So based on what you're saying, you're seeing the hazard, you're clicking, but the score's low, but you're not getting the score that's required for the hazard. But I'll explain more later on if you stick around. But as I said, if you're clicking at the right time, then how comes your score is low? So hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, I'll do a demonstration so it makes sense. What are we on? 18. Going for D's, which is common answer, so I'm assuming it's got to be correct. Yeah, it's going to be correct. Let me just do this quickly. If it's got the phrase, if it's safe to do so, it's always going to be the correct answer. So if you see any of your 4 phrases, one of them's got if it's safe to do so, it's always going to be the right answer. That's a phrase we use a lot as driving instructors. If it's safe to do so, roundabouts, is it safe to do so? So if that's the phrase in it, then that's the answer for it. Following a collision, a person has been injured. What would be a warning sign for shock? Right, Sammy's Travels. I'm mainly studying on 5 topics, really. I'm assuming that's your weakest if you're only studying on 5 topics. Again, be careful, because you said you're studying on 5, which means you're neglecting 9 topics. Again, what I would do, and I'm not saying you're not doing this because obviously I don't know you, there's nothing wrong studying the 5 topics if that's your weakest one, but make sure you're doing mock tests so all the questions, all the topics are being drawn on, because you can spend a lot of time just doing the 5 topics, but the other 9 starts to get weak. You need to keep, if it's the strongest, you need to keep it strong. So by neglecting that, by just doing 5, it can start going down without knowing it. And then you want to be doing mock tests just to make sure it doesn't show other topics being weak, if that makes sense. The other thing you can do if you're using the 4-in-1 is when you do a mock test, tailor it for those 5 categories only. So just get those 5 categories only. So you're only going to get questions from those 5 and see what you get out of 50. And that's the reason why I like using the 4-in-1, because you can tailor it to your studying as well. So that's another way of doing it. You use the 5 topics as your 50 questions and then see what score you get. And not book test yet. Again, I would ask why, because again, you may have just started studying, I don't know. So the question is why you haven't booked a test yet. Just past 40 out of 50, 60. First of all, welcome. Missed it by 2, the magical 50 by 2, but well done. 60 out of 75, well done, congrats. Thank you for letting us know. 19. Got a B there. D's common, but someone put a B. All right, let's look at D. Rapid shallow breathing is correct. And what's B? Slow pulse. No, it's not going to be a slow pulse for that's rapid shallow breathing, short breath. What hazard should you be especially aware if you're turning left into a side road? Big Rizza, some car tire questions can be a little confusing, such as. But first of all, the get my words out. Car tire questions are legal requirements. The reason why they put it in there is because if you anything of those are happening to your car, it's after you pass your driving test, get caught. It's 3 points on your license, just in case you didn't know. So tread depth, for example, 1.6 millimeters, no cuts, bulges, rips or tears. It carries points on your license. And if you guys didn't know, you're on 2 years probation once you pass your driving test. And if you get 6 points on your license in the first 2 years, you lose it. You're back to square one. Another theory test, another driving test. That's one of the reasons why they ask the tire questions. Now, the advice with the tire questions is normally legal requirements, 1.6 millimeter tread depth, which I just gave you, no cuts, bulges, rips or tears. The vibration is normally you're driving down the road, you feel a vibration in your steering wheel. What's the reason for it? The wheels are unbalanced. That's why there's a vibration. One wheel slightly higher than the other. And the reasons for that is too fast, potholes, speed humps, and mounting the pavement when parking. So the vibration is the wheels are unbalanced. And when the car pulls to one side, it's your brake pads. They're worn out unevenly. That's the reason why your car pulls to one side. So those are the answers to those questions. Again, the only advice I give you, it sounds very simple, but study it. So I repeat, reason why the car vibrates, wheels are unbalanced. Just Google unbalanced wheels. It gives you a bit more explanation. And when your car pulls to one side when steering, it's your brake pads are worn out unevenly. And again, Google it, and that gives you a bit more information on that. So that's what you need. And the tire is 1.6 millimeter tread depth. Those are the main tire questions, by the way. Hopefully that helps. Sorry, what are we on? Last 20 already? Wow. So I just like all of you gone for C on this, so C. But that, yeah, the key word here is, again, when you break it down, it's especially because it's moving, what we call moving targets. Pedestrians keep moving because they're walking, so that's why it's especially aware. So like I said, there's always clues. Hold on a second. I don't know why it's jumped up like that. Put it back. I'll leave it for now. What did we say? We'll see. So there's the breakdown. So as I mentioned earlier on at the beginning, your 50 questions is made up of 14 different categories. This is a 20 question mock test. So you got 10 different categories there, and you can see how they're made up individually here. 4 vulnerable road users, by the way, which is a lot for 20 questions. You got 3 incidents, accidents, and emergencies. That's a lot. Oh, got another 3 up here as well. Road and traffic signs. So as I said, your test is made up individually. You don't know how it's going to be made up. That's the reason why I always suggest do categories individually, then go on to a mock test. If you use the 4-in-1, it tells you your strongest category if there was one, and it tells you your weakest category if there was one. And then obviously this week you go off and restudy those to make sure the same mistakes ain't being made. Right, so let me just catch up with these comments. Kieran, first of all, welcome, you're new. Right, I'm just going to break this down for you. Good morning, sir. I'm new here, so like I said, welcome first and foremost. I've done my test 4 times, but I'm lacking just for 1 or 2. No, you're not. That's common, and that's the reason why you keep failing 4 times. Let me quickly explain. You taken a mock test and you have failed it. You said 1 or 2 marks. Let's be generous, and let's say you failed by 1. So that means you're getting 42 4 times, which means you're getting 8 questions wrong. So every time you take a test, your 8 question lack of knowledge. If you do your maths, 4 8s are 32. That's 32 questions over 4 tests. You still have a weakness in your knowledge. But because you keep saying to yourself, I keep missing it by 1 or 2, you study for the 1 or 2 questions. You don't study for the 8 questions you're getting wrong every time. And that's the reason why your marks are roughly the same. There's no improvement because you're training for just the 1 or 2 marks. So you're always falling short. What you want to do is train for the 8 questions you got wrong. And that way now, when you fall short, you should fall what we call forward over the line, because you train for 50, you got less than 50, that should be a pass. But you're training for 43, and that's why you're falling short, which is behind the line, hence why you're always getting 41, 42. So that's what you need to do, change your mindset. You got 8 questions wrong, 4 tests, 4 8s are 32, 32 questions wrong. That's a lack of knowledge. So I hope that helps you. So I failed my theory of all. The highest I got is 42, has perception 65. Right, has perception is fine. Similar to what I just said to the previous person as well, person viewer, 42. Over and over again, the highest I got is 42. It's lack of knowledge. If you're only getting 42 every time, it's a lack of knowledge. So you need to, what I would say to the previous person I was speaking to and you, because you said over and over, you have data. What I would do, you just said over and over, you don't say how many times, but the previous one said 4 times. So you got 4 test sheets. What you want to do is put all 4 side by side, ideally date order, and then look at the categories you got the questions wrong in and see if there's common denominators. If there's a common denominator, that's the categories you want to study. If it's different categories on each test, it's definitely a lack of knowledge. You need to go back to square one and do the individual categories to bring the knowledge up, and hopefully for the next time you'll get your 43 minimum that you require. It's coming really big. Chuchi, welcome to you. Hopefully you're well. Oh, you passed it. Well done to you. 47 out of 50. Congrats. 53 out of 75 scored. And you scored a 0 in 2 videos and still passed it. Well done. If there was no warnings about too much clicking, you just scored 0 full stop. You missed the hazards altogether. The only way you're going to know that you scored a 0 is if it told you. You said there was no warnings, which means you just got 0. You missed the 5 totally with that, but you still passed it because, like I said, the average was more than 3, well more than 3 to get it. So well done. Similar to what I've just said, again, you guys are thinking 1 mark. You're not failing by 1. You need 1 to pass. You failed by 9 questions. You got 9 questions wrong. When you go for a test, you should be looking to get 50 out of 50. I'm not saying you're going to get 50 out of 50, but that's what you should be aiming for. So if you fall short, you fall forward, which is over 43. If you're looking for the 1 mark, you've already told your brain you're going to study just to get the 1 mark extra. That's not a lot of work. You just don't realize. It's the way the brain works. You give it short piece of information, it's going to study for that short piece of information. You give it a lot of information, it will study for a lot of information. You're giving it just enough capacity to study for the 1 mark to pass. But what you don't understand, when you go for the next test, it's a different set of 50 questions. So our example, if let's just say you got road markings and road signs was your majority of your questions you got wrong. What you've now done is studied just for the 1 mark. But you get a 50 different set of questions, so it's different road signs, different road markings, which means you're still going to fail again because you only studied for 1 mark improvement. Now, if you study to get 50 out of 50, it means you've done comprehensive studying, all the road signs, all the road markings, and when the 50 different questions come up, because you studied, the knowledge will be there to give you the mark you require to pass. But you keep saying, I failed by 1, missed it by 1. The brain thinks I only need to do a little bit of studying to get the next mark. And I can guarantee you as well, what you've probably done, because you missed it by 1, you literally went home, booked another theory test. If you could get it a week later, 2 weeks later, which is common, and you failed again, where you should be going out and studying and delay booking another theory test. Hopefully this is making sense to you guys. But like I said, this is common mistakes that not just you guys make. Joe Public, mate. That's why the failure rate is so high. Jamie Nash. I've not seen your name before, so again, welcome. Jay told me about you, so I started watching you. I don't know who Jay is, but thank Jay for me to share the channel and getting you over here to watch. Appreciate that. So thank him for me. And Sammy Travels, my weakness are rules of the road. Okay, again, if you was my student, could you say my weaknesses are, and then you've got a lot of lists. Why is it your weakness? Is it for categories or is it the question you don't understand? It's a difference, subtle difference. Because if you don't understand the question, then you're going to pick the wrong answer, which makes it feel like you don't understand the categories. If you understand the question, you'll be able to choose the right answer, which be a stronger category. So again, what I always say to my students, especially when we do the study camp, is why do you think you keep getting the question wrong? And then go from there. So like I said, if you understand the question, then technically you should be picking the right answers. That's a strong category. If you don't understand the question, it's very difficult to pick the right answer because you don't understand the question what they're asking. So that's what I would explore. Go a little bit deeper and ask yourself why. Because not knowing you, I don't believe your knowledge is weak. I just believe you're not understanding the question because you've been here quite a while. And obviously I know it's just a straightforward 20 question mock test, but you don't strike me as a person who would have this many categories wrong. So it would come down to understanding the question because that's a subtle difference. The question, not understanding the question, can make it feel like the categories are weak. And that's what you got to get your head around. Because like I said, I've seen it so much in the study camp over the last week when we've done the live sessions. They always say, I can't understand road signs, blah, blah, blah. And then when you break it down, ask them certain questions, they understand what the answer is, but they didn't understand the question. And it's not the category, it's the question they're not understanding. Sorry, let me just do this. I just need to read this again, sorry. I need help, always failing my test. The highest I got is 42. 65, has perceptions fine, 42. You see, right, this is an example I'm talking about here. It says my weakest is traffic signs and I'm doing well on my mock test, but each time I go for my exam, I see new questions. What do I do? Right, so first of all, my weakness is traffic signs. They got 42 out of 50. You did not, I can guarantee you did not get 8 road traffic signs wrong. There's other categories you got wrong in failing that, but you're just seeing it as traffic signs is an issue where you're missing the other 4 categories minimum, because if you failed it, you would have failed on 5 categories on average. And if you want to test me on that, Get your paperwork out, look at the categories. I'll guarantee you got a minimum of 5 categories wrong. There's no way you got 8 road signs traffic questions on that. And again, it will come down to understanding based on that, but also mindset, because like I said, the first thing you said, traffic signs is my weakest, as if that's caused you to get 42, which it wasn't. 5 times. So like I said, there's no way on earth you failed 5 times on road and traffic signs, but your weakest category is traffic signs. You've got other weaknesses that you're not recognizing or admitting to. And like I said to all of you as well, sometimes you have to look deeper in terms of why you're failing. It's very simple to say, oh, it's this category, it's that category. But if you're getting less than the 43, which means you failed it, you, on average, it's 5 different categories you got questions wrong in, which means obviously 5 categories of weaknesses, not 1. And especially road signs, the theory test doesn't, the real test I'm talking about, doesn't always give you road signs, because they know you're going to be using road signs on the real driving lessons driving test, so that's going to definitely be used up. I've not seen your name before, so welcome first of all. 44, 50, 50. So you passed it. Congratulations. Congratulations on passing. I'm glad the 2-click method worked. Welcome. I'm glad it's good to be here. Happy Sunday to you. Also, you're here live for the first time. I'm glad you could be here live. Friday, 47 out of 50. Congratulations, 51 has perception. 4th attempt, but well done for keep going and passing. First of all, Bobby, I'm glad I'm helping you and glad you've said that. And get your test booked. For all of you, get your test booked, work towards it. If the time comes closer and you don't feel ready for it, push it back. You need to set goals. 2026 is about setting goals and getting this thing done, because like I said, the waiting time for a driving test is long. You don't want to be delaying it longer than necessary by just taking mock test after mock test after mock test. At some point, you do need to take the real test. And as I said, it's only going to go one of 2 ways. You pass it, fail it, pass it, move on with your life, driving lessons, driving tests. If you fail it, you got data to know where to go from there. And that's how you improve. You learn from mistakes. If you don't make them, then how do you improve? You stay where you are. Right, so I think I'm up to date with all the comments. Right, so let me just quickly do this first. Driving test report sheet, iPad. So I'm going to show you this. This is the driving test report sheet. Pass or fail, you will get a copy of this on the day of your driving test. So we just did the theory test. As I keep saying, the theory is related to your driving, or you're going to have to use it for your driving. So we had, how much traffic signs did we have? Road and traffic signs, we had 3. So box 17, road and traffic signs. Road markings, traffic lights, traffic controllers, and other road users. There's your theory test right there. We had a question, if you remember, about the motorway. Who should use the left-hand lane? Everybody stays left when possible. So if you didn't do that on your driving test, it gets marked in box 23, position normal driving. Pedestrian crossings, you guys will cover pedestrian crossings at some point. Your traffic lights, your reds, your greens, your ambers, your pelicans, your puffins. That's the box you get marks in. So again, theory related. Positions, normal stop, where should you park? Not within 10 meters of a junction. When can you legally park on the right hand side, one-way road? That's the box that gets marked if you don't know all that stuff. So that's your theory right there. Now, hazard perception is related to your mirrors. So just in case you didn't know, when you're clicking to get your 5s, your 4s, your 3s minimum, it's you checking the mirrors if you're driving in the video. So box 14, use of mirrors before you signal. Change the direction and change the speed. On the videos, you don't see the car signaling. So you're only worrying about the car changing direction and changing, slowing down. So changing direction as in, let me do this. Changing direction as in moving left or right. So it's the wing mirrors you're checking when that's happening. And when you're slowing down, it's the rear view mirror you're checking. So a hazard is a problem that's going to cause you to slow down or change direction. That's what a hazard is. So I repeat, a hazard is a problem that's going to cause you to slow down or change direction. So when you're watching the video, if you think that's going to be a problem for you, you click, but you click twice. You click once when you see the problem, and then you count. You go 1, 2, and then you click again. So someone said to me they're clicking at the right times, getting a low score. You're probably clicking at the right times when you're seeing the hazard, as in see the problem, but you're not clicking at the right times to get a score. There's a difference, and that's what they don't tell you on the videos. They just say click early. The earlier you click, the higher score you get. No, it's not. The earlier you click, you can get a 0. You're trying to get it in the countdown window. It's like a game. That's what you're trying to do, is play the game, just get the scores here. In real life, you can see as early as you want. So when you're driving on your driving lesson, see the problem, click your mirror 7 seconds, 8 seconds, it makes no difference. But with the videos, you have to click it between the 3 and the 5 countdown window. So I repeat, when you were saying about clicking at the right times, yes for the hazard, but not yes for the score. There's a subtle difference. So let me just catch up with this quickly. I'm glad you're going to book today. As I said, work towards it. Like I say, if you're not ready, don't feel ready, push it back. But at least you've got a goal. It just keeps you a bit more focused and motivated. I'm a beginner, though I don't have passion for manual driving, though. If you don't have a passion for manual driving, do you have passion for automatic driving? I've never heard someone say that before. I don't have passion. I don't like automatics. I don't like manuals. I've heard that statement, but I don't have passion for manual driving. Driving's driving, whether it's automatic or not. But only you can answer that. I won't get into that. If you're a beginner, look for a driving instructor. That's the only thing I can suggest. Go for a driving instructor. If you're adamant you don't want to do manual, go for automatic. Look for an automatic driving instructor. Because you passed the theory, so that's the next step, is look for a driving instructor. They will guide you on that. But I will add, driving the manual gives you the option of both automatic and manual. But driving automatic, you're stuck with automatic. So you have to look at the bigger picture. What are you looking to do with your driver's license? If you're looking to career options and all the rest of it, you may want to think about doing manual. If it's just for you and you alone, and you're of a certain age, well, I'll say of a certain age, mature age, then go for the automatic. But for me personally, if you're a younger person, do manual, because you don't know where your life's going to take you. Like with my son, when he drove, he's always going to do manual, because that's what I did. He was never going to do automatic. But he's gone down certain routes where he can drive company cars, blah, blah, blah. They only did manual with those jobs. So he had the option of automatic and manual if that's the choice. If he did automatic, you'd have to relearn. So like I said, sometimes you have to look at the bigger picture and think about where your life's going to take you, and then decide on the automatic or manual. The worst thing you can do is do automatic, then realize you got to retrain to do manual, because where you want to go, it's only manual route. Josephine, I'm glad it helped. Congratulations. If that's your preference, go for it. Doesn't stop you, but it's still going to be a driving instructor either way. Hazard perception was the reason I had to reschedule and push my tests. You said forward, and you mean backwards to February. All right, let me do this hazard perception so you can see. So as we know, hazard perception is anything that's going to cause you to slow down or change direction. You got two types of clips when you study at home. You've got, obviously you can see it on screen, you've got real life and you've got the CGIs. Be very careful when you're doing the real life clips. They're hard to see and the scoring sometimes is not on point depending which app you use. So if you are getting a low score on the real life clips, I wouldn't be too hard on yourself because it may just not be tallying. Now, if you're getting low scores on the CGI, then I would be worried because when you go for the CGI ones are on point on all the apps. And when you go for the real test, they're all CGIs as well. So I repeat, if you're getting low scores on the real life clips, don't be too upset because it may just not be tallying. But on the CGIs, they will be tallying. So if you've got a low score, you need to improve somehow. So let me do a real life first. Let's choose one I've not seen before, no stars. Let's do this one. So I'll do a commentary drive. What I'm saying commentary, I'll talk out loud what I'm seeing so you know what I'm going to be clicking. When you're taking driving lessons, I suggest you do commentary as well because it helps you with your driving. You just see a problem, talk about it. So I can't see around the bend, so I'm going to click on that. It's always what if something comes around the bend like the car did just now. Roadworks, the sign says roadworks are coming up. That lorry's over the middle line, so I'm going to click on that. Traffic is slowing down up ahead. And the guy's crossing the road. That could be well late. Keep going because it could be your double hazard. Always try to look as far as you can in the video. When you're driving in real life, look as far as you can as well. And from pavement to pavement, just in case. Because road signs are on the pavement, that's why you want to look from pavement to pavement. And also pedestrians are on the pavement. There's nothing here for me to click on. 5 out of 5, if you can see that. Always review it back to see how you can improve. So I'll just speed it up. So there's my first click. And there's my second click. And that's the reason why. For the person that said they're clicking at the right time but a low score. So there I've clicked because I saw the traffic slowing down. And then there's my second click, which is just in the 5. That was for the traffic. Then I saw the guy crossing the road, click again. And that's again. There's two separate problems. Let me just explain that. The traffic for me is one problem. And then the guy crossing the road is the second problem. So it's two sets of 2 clicks. Not one click for the whole thing. And it always give you the highest mark, as you saw here. They gave me the highest mark. They didn't downgrade me. So there's no benefits in clicking once. And that's the reason why you click twice. So again, for the person that said they're clicking at the right time, low scores, you're clicking for the problem you see on screen, but you're not clicking to get the score. The score is more important than the problem. Sounds weird, but as you just saw, I saw the problem. Let me just rewind that back. Saw the problem, which is the traffic slowing down. There's my click, but I'm clicking again to make sure I get a score. And that's where it took me into the 5. Whereas if I left it there for the traffic, then I don't click again, then I see the man, I would have got a 3/4, still averaging 3, but 5 is better than that. And that's the reason why you click for 2 times per problem. Let me just catch up with the comments on this. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm assuming you mean try to book an instructor just before Christmas. I wish you luck with that. Most instructors are taking a break. Don't be afraid to try. If you don't try, you don't know. Because instructors will get booked up in the new year. So if you can book them now and reserve them for a date you want to start, even better. I don't see any comments on that. Right, let me do a CGI one. So you can see the difference in quality. Okay, let me share my screen. Get rid of the comments. So let me do one with no stars. Let me do this one 3. So again, always look well ahead. Curb, pavement to pavement, because pedestrians on the pavement. If they're walking at the edge, it suggests they're looking to cross. That's the reason why. So that person coming towards me near the tree, she's well on the pavement, no problem. Scan from left to right. The car coming from my right hand side, so probably may not stop at the giveaway. And then it's going again and click again and stalled it. So that's the one that's caused me to slow down. But keep going because it could be your double. He's signaling, so he's going to have to slow down to do that turn. Five out of 5. Right, let me just speed up for the sake of the video. So I saw the car coming from my right hand side. I'm pausing there. So I saw the car coming from my right hand side. Always think, what if they don't stop at the giveaway line? Just because it's your priority doesn't mean they're going to give it to you. So it's always a what if they don't stop. So you click. Here's my second click. So I was clicked for seeing them. That's my first problem. Then they start to move. So I click again, different problem. And it's my first click, which is a 5. My second one looks like it's a 3. And that's the reason why you go for 2 clicks. So as much as it's the same car, it's 2 different problems. I'm going to rewind it again to show you. Because remember, a hazard is anything that's going to cause you to slow down or change direction. So the first issue was he may not stop at the giveaway line. That's why I clicked. He's now moving, so he's not giving me my priority. That's why I clicked again. 2 different problems, same car. I cannot use one click for the whole thing, and that's the reason why. Again, I go back to the person that said they're clicking at the right times but getting a low score. I repeat, you're clicking for the problem you're seeing, but not to get a score. And that's the difference in passing and failing. So hopefully that makes sense. Just see. As you said before, we need to click 2 times. You have clicked many times, but still you got the score. I tried it once, but got 0. When I say click 2 times, I'm saying click 2 times per problem, not 2 times for the video, if that's what you meant. So I'm clicking 2 times. Let me just break it down again. A hazard is anything that's going to cause you to slow down or change direction. If it's going to cause me to slow down, I'm clicking. If it's going to cause me to change direction, shift left or right, I'm clicking. That last video, the car was coming to the giveaway line. I don't know if it's going to stop at the giveaway, so it could cause me to slow down. I clicked. And as I got closer, he was going. He's going to cause me to stop. So I clicked. So you clicked multiple times through the video on problems that exist. So if you're just trying to click just on a problem, thinking that's the score or the 5, then you're doing it wrong. Hopefully that makes sense, because I'm not quite sure what you're saying. So I'm saying click 2 times per problem, not 2 times for the whole video. I'll do another one just to make sure you understand that. I click 3 times in burst. If you mean click, 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 you're running the risk of getting 0. Because if the first one's too early and you click it in burst quickly, you could end up still clicking before the hazard starts. That's the reason why I say click and count 1, 2, so you're spacing it out. That's the reason why. But if you go click, 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 the first one could be too early on that. So that's the reason why I wouldn't do burst. All right, let me do another video and break it down. Hold on 1 second. Right, let me share my screen so you can see what I'm doing, so you know I'm not cheating in any shape or form. Right, let's do CGI, save CGI. Right, let's do this one. Again, I'm not seeing this. So number 17, no stars are on there yet. So let me just repeat what I'm going to do. I'm clicking for anything that's going to cause me to slow down or change direction. So if the video has 3 problems, I'm clicking. That's all I'm doing. So it's not 2 clicks for the score. I'm clicking for a problem. I don't know which one is going to be the score. Right, so let's do this. So I don't see anything going on. So that's why I'm not clicking. So with a bend, if you can't see around the bend, you should always click what if there's something around there. And you should always go slowly into the bend, accelerate out. There's roadworks coming up. Again, I'm scanning from left to right, right to left. There's nothing going on. There's a van parked up on the right. Pedestrians are at the bus stop. There's not a problem. Dustman in the road. So boom. And I'm going to click again just to make sure I get a score. So you keep still looking for hazards. At this point in time, there is nothing in front of me to say I need to slow down or change direction. So I'm not clicking. There's a roundabout coming up. 5 out of 5. Right, so let's speed up for the sake of the video. There's not much going on. Right, the pedestrians, let me just pause it so when it's closer. The pedestrians at the bus stop is not a problem for me because they're not stepping into the road. They're not looking like they're crossing. That's the reason why I did not click. It's not a problem. It's not causing me to slow down. It's not causing me to change direction. So that's why I ignored the bus stop. If he was facing the other way, close to the edge, I would think about clicking. So you got the guy in the road. So that's where I've clicked. So that's my 5. Count 1, 2, click again. So that's for him. You know, let me go back so you can see why I clicked for the other one. So that's for him. If you look to the right of the van, there's another guy walking towards the van. I do not know if he's going to stop behind the van or walk in the road. 2 different men, 2 different problems, 2 sets of clicks. That's the reason why. So there's my first one. And there's my second one when he steps out in front of me. But I already got my 5 anyway. So let me just
ensure the road is clear of pedestrians, as the large vehicle can obstruct your view. Check your mirrors, adjust your road positioning, and continue carefully.
So the video has 5 problems, you're going to have 10 clicks.
Mini roundabout
if the video
ahead.
has 1 problem, you will have 2 clicks. So you click for each problem twice. So hopefully that makes sense. If that's the way you're doing it, fine. I don't teach the 3-click method. The 3 clicks can work. It's not a problem with it. It doesn't. Again, as long as you're clicking on things that exist, it will not be too many clicks. I just don't teach the 3 clicks. In some of my videos, when I have filmed them, you have seen me go for a 3rd click because it is about getting a score. If I think I've messed up on the 2 clicks, I'll go for a 3rd one because it's not going to affect the outcome of me cheating, if that makes sense. So if you're doing 3 clicks all the way through, that is acceptable. I just don't know how sensitive their program is on a real one. So if you do 3 clicks all the way through and their program's more sensitive than the app, it can add up to too many clicks, if that makes sense. That's the reason why I don't do 3 clicks all the way through. But if it's working for you, then fine, don't change it. Because it's about finding your style of doing it. I've got some people who can do it with just 1 click. If it works for them, I'll leave it. But if they pass sometimes, fail sometimes, we have to change it because we can't rely on sometimes. We have to kind of guarantee that pass. Especially for my students because they do the intensive driving course. So I repeat, if it works for you, let me just put this back up. If it works for you, keep going. Don't change it. Priscilla, good morning to you. Thank you for commenting, by the way. Are you commenting because you've used the resources and passed, or you use the resource and still studying with it. They haven't told me whether it's past it or still just using it. But thank you for commenting anyway. I'm glad you understand. Don't be afraid to practice. It's trial and error. That's the whole point of doing this stuff at home. You trial it, you error, and then you tweak, you improve. There's nothing wrong with making mistakes at home. What you're trying to do is perfect your art. So when you go for the real test, you got it nailed and you pass it. So don't be afraid to mess up at home and tweak. As this person hanging in there said, but I'm not seeing your comment, your name before, so by the way, welcome. So as he or she said, I don't know if it's a he or she, they click 3 times. If that's working for them, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to follow my methods. I'm just giving you tips and tricks, and you mold it to your style. That's what this is about. It's not about you have to do 2 clicks. It's about I'm giving you a tip and you adjust it to your style. And this person's using 3. Got their test tomorrow. I wish you luck with that tomorrow. I can't say come back next week. I'm not here next week. It's the last one for the year. But when I come back in Sunday, it's the first Sunday. I'm assuming it's the first Sunday in January. I think it's the 9th or the 10th or something like that. Come back and let me know. But I wish you luck with that though anyway, with the questions and your clicking. Be a nice little Christmas present for you. So remember, anything I say to you guys, it's tips I'm giving you. Mold it to your style of learning. You're welcome. You're welcome. Oh, you did pass. I passed in the last month. 43. Ooh, low pass. Yes, 100%. Still a pass though. Congratulations. Has 68 on has perception. Wow, that's amazing. 7 short of the max. No problem. You're welcome. I'm glad it helped you. No problem. Wish luck with that. But I repeat, don't beat yourself up over if it goes wrong. Do what I just did. Review it back and see if there's improvement that can be made. Remember, you're trying to, I hate using the word perfect, but you're trying to perfect your art. So when you go for the real test, it's on point so you can pass. So don't be afraid to mess up. Some of you guys, what you do, you take a hazard perception or the real mock or the 50 question mock test. You fail and you get disheartened by it. The reason why it's a test is because it's to show you strengths and weaknesses. So if you're failing the mock test or hazard perception, you learn from those mistakes. Learn why you picked the wrong answer. Learn why you clicked too early or clicked too late. And when you learn from that, you tweak, you take again, the score improves, it improves, improves. So when you go for the real test, you get your 50 out of 50. That's what it is. It's not about doing tests at home and passing every time. And plus you don't learn anything from that. If you keep passing, you get complacent. And if you guys watch my videos, you've seen me get questions wrong. And I've left it in the video to show you that I still get questions wrong. And if I'm getting them wrong, guess what? You're going to get them wrong as well. Don't be afraid to get things wrong. As long as you learn from it. If you're not going to learn from it, that's a different issue altogether. I'm glad. I'm going to just call you JT. I'm glad that it helped you out and made it easier for you. I've not seen your name before, so by the way, welcome. CGI, not GCI, but I couldn't get my brain around that. It's CGI, computer generated images. So let me quickly show you on this, if I can. How am I going to do this? Go backwards. The share screen. So this is, let's get rid of this. Sorry, I'm reading a comment and I didn't put it on the screen so you can see what I'm talking about. It says, please, what does GCI mean? It's not GCI, it's CGI. You mentioned it when you went to play the video. You've got these videos. You probably can't see. Let me just bring one up on screen. I can't pause it. This is real life videos. The quality is not all that. And the failure rate used to be really high on that. And then you have CGI, which is computer generated images, and it's a little bit more clearer and sharper. They're all computer generated. When you go for the real test, it will be all CGI, and obviously you're doing it on a bigger screen where I'm doing it on a tablet. So that's what CGI means, computer generated images. But I would suggest when you use an app to use both, because it's good to get your eye in on both of them, CGI and real life. Welcome if you're new, welcome. A little bit late, but welcome. Again, Rosemary, a little bit late, but welcome to you. Hopefully you come back in the new year. No problem, you're welcome with that. My test on the night. No. Answer to your questions, no. My test is on the 9th. My question is, if I'm able to finish the 4 in 1 app categories, am I good to go? The answer is no. Just because you finished them, it doesn't mean to say you're good to go. And let me explain what I mean by that. You can finish all the categories, but you can fail the majority of them, then you're not good to go. You want to be doing the categories and passing the majority of them. And when I say the majority, you're looking at the 90% target. But there's 774, I think there's slightly more now, but there's 774 questions. You want to be passing at least 750, in my opinion, 750 plus questions. Only getting about 20 odd wrong. I'll tell you why. Because when you go for the real test, the questions are worded differently. So when you go for the real test, you're going to be thinking, hold on, I've done the questions on the app, so I'm good to go. But when you go for the real test, the questions worded differently, answers are different, you're going to struggle. You need to understand what you are studying at those 774 questions. So just doing them doesn't make you good to go. Understanding them and passing them gives you a better chance of passing the real test. It doesn't mean say you will pass the real test, but it gives you a better chance because you're now understanding what the mock test ones are asking. You are passing the mock test ones, which means when you go for the real ones and the word is similar, you should be able to work out the correct answer. But if you're just talking about, oh, I'll do the 14 categories, then go for the real test, answer to that is no. No problem, you're welcome. Oops. Mary. Again, I'm not seeing your name before, so again, I'm assuming you're new or silent watcher. Passed with 46 out of 50 and 57. Found your videos very helpful. Thank you for that. Thank you for coming to the live and letting me know. That's the last. No, it's not. Pokemon lover 1091. I've not seen your name before. Pokemon. I passed 47 out of 50 yesterday, Saturday. Well done to you. It's a nice little Christmas present for you. Thank you to you for this wonderful program. No problem. You guys are welcome. So that's the last comment I see on there. So I'm going to sign out. Again, there's a couple more coming through. I'll show those up in a minute. I want to wish, get this out of the way, you guys again a happy Christmas and New Year, all you and your families. I want to thank you again for the support of the channel, watching the channel. I know much videos didn't go up this year, but you guys still watch the other stuff, even though it's still relevant, it's not out of date, and coming to the lives every Sunday. The reason why I do the lives is because you guys turn up. If you guys didn't turn up, then it's no point in me doing it. I'll just go back to making videos. I will be doing more videos next year because I'm seeing a lot of common mistakes. I see a lot of issues which actually, to be fair, even doing the study camp over the last 3 weeks since we started to run it, I've actually learned a bit from the students in there and the common mistakes you're making. I didn't learn that from the boot camp, which is weird, but I've actually learned the common mistakes, which I'm now going to reveal over the coming year for you guys to have a better chance of passing that theory test, because we need to get your license done and dusted, because it's not getting any easier booking a driving test, and the roads are getting more congested transport wise, so you better have your own wheels, if that makes sense. You can go from A to B. So that's my aim for next year, to get as many of you pass this theory test next year. So, but I thank you for your support, appreciation, and all the comments you've done on YouTube. I repeat, for those of you that wasn't here at the beginning, I do read the comments. I just cannot respond to them because there's so many. And passing or failing, keep letting me know, because it's my inspiration and motivation to keep making stuff. If you pass, I know it's working. If you failed, I know I need to do a little bit more to help you pass. So hopefully you guys, like I said, have a good Christmas, have a good New Year, safe one, whatever you guys decide to do. Don't drink and drive. Definitely not. So let me just bring up these comments before I sign out, because you took your time to type them. Jay Silver, you're welcome. Hopefully the hazard perception stuff works for you, but remember, tweak. Don't be afraid to review and tweak it. Passed the theory test, 43 out of 50, 65 hazard perception. For me personally, anything 60 plus on hazard perception on the real test, I think that's amazing. To go there with the nerves and still get 65, it's brilliant. Should I click when the road ahead is bend or cannot be? Yes, because you don't know what's around the corner. So the bend with driving, I don't know if you're taking driving lessons, as when we teach driving, you slow into the bend, accelerate out, because you don't know what's around the corner. So obviously checking the mirrors is about slowing down. So you slow down for the bend if you cannot see clearly. So answer that is yes. Happy New Year to you. No problem, you're welcome. Hopefully you come back next year. Flappity Flaps. I'm not saying you know if I like that name though. I failed my last test due to the hazard perception test. I now know. 2026. Again, if you're doing the 2026, especially if you're doing it after the 10th or whenever it is, come back to that first Sunday live session and we can discuss, talk if you need to. If you did it before then, please come back and let me know how you got on with it. But I wish you luck with that. With that specific, now you know what you're doing. It's a two-way thing, trust me. It's two-way. And the reason why I say that, like I said, I read the comments on the YouTube. I was on there yesterday reading the passing, some fell, pass, blah, 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 and all the rest of it. And when we had the live session in the study camp, I learned quite a lot from those students in there. And it's just made me more inspired to just make these videos. So, as I said, I can't do every single week because I just haven't got the time, but my aim is to do one new video every 2 weeks next year, plus the Sunday live. So you guys are inspiring me, and hopefully I'm doing the same to you for you guys to pass. So yeah, I appreciate you. Trust me on that. No problem with that. So yeah, guys, all I've got to say is just have a safe Christmas. No matter what happens, be safe, look after yourself, enjoy whatever you decide to do. And New Year, when it comes around, just be safe. Don't do anything stupid. I want to see you guys back here next year. I'm not sure. Let me check it now. I'm not sure what the date is. It's supposed to be the first Sunday in January, but let me just double check it while we are here live. The 11th. Oh, the first Sunday is the 4th. I know it won't be the 4th. It'll be back. I'll be back on the 11th, January the 11th. I'm back at work on the 5th. So on the 11th of January is when I'll be back. 10 a.m. for those of you that set up late. Look out for the thumbnail. And I'll be back on the 11th. I didn't see your question. That's why I say put a Q. What's the question? Quickly type it in. I'll stay on. That's why I keep saying put a Q semicolon so I can see the question. Type the question in quickly. Let me see if I can find it going back. But with the questions while I'm doing this, what I've noticed in the study camp, like I said, don't do mock tests in 20, 25 minutes. It doesn't make sense. And the other thing that we've come to, which came to light as well, is that some of you are trying to do mock tests on buses and trains and stuff like that. That's not the environment to be taking a mock test in. Because when you go for the real mock test, you're sitting still. So you want to be taking the mock test in the same environment as in at home, where you got time to take the mock test. If you haven't got time, 50 odd minutes to take a mock test, don't take one. Use the time, if you're traveling on train and buses or whatever it is, to do categories, individual categories. You're wasting your time with that. That's what's come to light as well in terms of studying. Do not do mock tests on the move. Why is the DVLA always booking those who failed at over 90 days apart? This is unfair. The gap for a resit test shouldn't be more than 2 weeks to 21 days. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Are you talking about a theory test or driving test? And not only that, that's not true, because the DVLA, it's a DVSA by the way, not DVLA. Always book. They don't book your test, you do. So they've got no control over the 90 days. If you're talking about a driving test, it's 10 working days. And if you're talking about the theory test, it's 3 working days. So I'm not sure where you're getting this 90 days or 21 days from. And plus you book it. It's got nothing to do with the DVSA or DVSA. It's got nothing to do with them. I repeat, just in case you guys don't know, if you fail a driving test, the earliest you can take one is outside of 10 working days, 2 weeks. If you fail a theory test, the earliest you can take one is 3 working days. So if you fail the theory test on Friday, the earliest you can take one is Wednesday. So I'm not sure where you're getting this 90 days and 21 days from. I passed my theory test on the 19th of December. Your hazard perception videos helped me a lot. I'm glad it helps you. Thank you for letting me know that you've passed again. 19th of December, it's a nice little Christmas present. 19th was what? Fridays, yeah, it's a nice little Christmas present for you. This person's not typing that question. I can't see the question. All right, I'm going to sign out. So have a good, like I said, good Christmas, safe Christmas, and a happy new year. But most importantly, stay safe. Look after yourself and look after your family. And I'll see you next year.